Hello again. Brian Jennings here. This channel is about processing my soul, my heart, my mind, my relationship with Quentin Tarantino and the movie Critic. I am the actual reason that he canceled his film, the movie Critic, and the two of us have a divine, celestial, psychic connection which transcends the boundaries of space and time, which he can always deny, and I suspect that he will. After courting me, in a sense, for the 2 months following his canceling of the film, right? He set me up at a screening of Jackie Brown to be an instant movie star. And so, when I stuck my letter up to his face and he turned his back on my letter, again, for the 5th time by that point, twice in January, twice more after he canceled the film, between the canceling of the film and the screening, I followed suit, turned my back, and left. All of his arguments are valid. All of his points are valid. Right? That he wanted me to be strong and, all of these things, sure. But from then, right, knowing that what I said to Mike Simpson was and is true, he can't stop me from writing. This solves nothing. Right? He entered into a campaign to compel me to, at the very least, appear insane. And so we're on the back end of it now. The dust is settling, but he continues to exercise, right, his divine understanding to see me suffer anytime he does anything in the public sphere, up to and including this most recent acting job he did in France some weeks prior to now. So I have to talk about it. Right? We have an established pattern of behavior, right? That he's done everything to torture me into submission, and I have no choice but to assume that every time he does anything in the public eye, that I'll be subjected to disgusting psychic pressures to see me suffer and hopefully compel me to suicide. This has always been to compel me to blow my brains out, right? Because he thought that he's so influential, right? That he can compel me to stop being who I am, which is an artist. You don't have to be a psychic clairvoyant to be an artist, to be a writer. Right? I don't have to play Quentin Tarantino's fucked up mind games. I did all the way there. Right? And for a long time I regretted not giving him what he wanted, but seeing how dense and hideous and outright evil it all is, I'm glad that I did what I did. Because it has exposed something within himself that perhaps was always there. But now, right now he has no choice but to reckon with it. Right? And so everyone around him, right, they all know who I am. Right? Elvis Mitchell, right, I've emailed him many times. Right? So when he did his interview at Cannes, right, he was aware of me. Right? When he did his interview at Sundance, I can't honestly remember if I had written him by then. But my point is that, right, that basically everyone around him sees that film of bile that's over him. Right? That there's no, right? And he lies to all of them. He lies to everyone. And so this is another reason why we're talking about it, because he's engendered a dangerous psychological condition in his mind as well, no matter what he tells people. So it behooves me to bring everyone into the conversation, and we can each maintain our positions, right? I can't stop him from being a goblin, right? It's obvious that he's exerting some sort of pressure upon everyone that I wrote to help us reconcile, specifically Anastasia from Fish and David Berlinski from the Discovery Institute, because I find it very hard to believe that if he wasn't in fact involved at all, that they wouldn't send me the correspondences, copies of the correspondences that I sent them that involved me. That's all I asked for. Right? And so if the truth of the matter was just that I sent them letters and I'm mentally ill, right? For sure, as far as Trey is concerned, and really David Berlinski as well, I find it hard to believe. Right? It's basically impossible for me to believe that they wouldn't send me the letters that I sent them if that's all that the truth of the matter was, and say, "We wish you well, you're not well." Right? But Quentin is hovering over them, right, in the way that he's hovering over me, like a goblin psychic vampire, because he slandered me to them, because he misconstrued the things that I did to make him happy when I felt bad over hurting him. Then that makes more sense, doesn't it? Right? What does it cost them to send copies of letters that a fan sent them back to the fan? Right? It cost them nothing. Right? But if there's more, right? If Quentin slandered them in some way, right? And again, like I don't know. I don't know. No one wants to talk to me honestly, openly, simply. Right? They all want to play the bullshit show business, psychological game. And so, all I can know is what I know in my heart. And what I know in my heart is that Quentin Tarantino has subjected me to a dangerous evil that will hover over my psyche and soul forever. And so, if you recall, I'm writing every day. I'm writing again. I'm becoming who I am again. Devoted to love, devoted to goodness, devoted to helping others. Right? And so, helping others now includes, right, exposing what Quentin Tarantino not only is capable of, but what he is prepared to do to see that he has no enemies. Right? And so this is my fear, right? And I'll get into that. I'll pick up where I left off. 234, November 2, 25. 2 minutes to perfection in the city of dihedral angles. 1 minute. Impending curses, divine retribution. All that status, all that love betrayed towards seeing me suffer. Why? He still believes I wanted to hurt him. He's wrong. He wanted to hurt me. Perfection. He always wanted to never accept my writing. He never intended to give me the role if I wasn't prepared to acquiesce my title as writer. Now we each hate each other. To conspire to see me in handcuffs, sinister, sick, evil. Just like Charles Manson. Show me the document. Show me what you told them. Your clairvoyance isn't enough for me, especially now. Knowing how much I suffered, how long I let him torture me, knowing I referenced nothing. How was he not ashamed of himself? I wrote myself initially, which was true, hence quitting my job. Why wouldn't he just let me stay on the street, waste away? What, he was worried I would keep writing people? Now I'm writing everyone forever. No forgiveness, no shame. He's pure evil. I see. His occultism has destroyed his soul, transmuted him into a hairy-footed bridge troll. I see why his forehead is so big, he's all mind. Wonder what Sydney Sweeney has to say about it. Mikey Madsen? Something to the effect of, oh, he seduced me with his mind. His dick's probably small. There's a South Park joke for you. Not that I care. That's lazy comedy. But perhaps a true source of the perpetual violence in all of his films. Again, like that South Park episode. I awoke singing Fish, Lifebuoy. God never listens to what I say. Never been more poignant. My need to discuss it is not for selfish, obsessive reasons to get famous. I knew what to do to be famous, and I wanted it. But now we just despise each other. But since we will never be free of each other, I have to own it all the way. I'll never live without the specter of his evil hovering within my psyche and soul. So I intend to let him lie about the nature of our relationship to everyone forever. He wants to reduce me to some sad, unstable guy. I'll be twice as productive, master every medium, prove in my works my merits artistically, and in the same breath denounce him as evil. And we can let the public decide who is on the proper side of right. He tells those closest to him. He can't be on my set because he isn't prepared or submissive enough. And as far as his film is concerned, I find no fault in that. However, to use the clairvoyance, which is a divine gift of wisdom, which you were incapable of wielding to get out of me what you wanted to compel me. What you wanted to compel me to madness and suicide is the apotheosis of evil. It is the Antichrist manifested, A clever, charming man, using deception and cunning to destroy those who oppose him, all with plausible deniability. So he can deny that he is evil, and I can deny that I am insane. Moving on is about setting the record straight. I should have done it differently. I am a great actor, in the spirit of Richard Burbage. It is about acknowledging each other, accepting our places in the world, separate but equal. I'll never sleep on this until he publicly acknowledges me. He wants to lie and suggest that my decline is my fault or in no way related to him. When in fact, I have a clear, sophisticated story leading all the way to the present, explaining everything that has occurred with that dumpster fire, the movie Critic. The only question is this: would a practitioner wield a divine understanding to destroy someone they saw as an enemy? I intended to review movies every day in protest. I can still do that. So in that way, after offering me a backdoor into his heart, knowing I would in fact review movies every day in protest, yes, I feel that he felt he had no choice. If I review a movie every day from now through next summer, that's still 250,000 words. I suppose I have to now. Mocking him as relentlessly as he sought to destroy me, openly, in public. And anytime anyone asks me, I'll reply, ask him. I still stand by this. We have to reconcile. Sincerely. Embrace. Be the family that we are. Otherwise, and we never will, I know. We, everyone involved, whomever that may be, will be miserable forever. 20 years of this is hideous. This is the source of the fear. By murdering me, he takes back his mind. He put me in his mind, not the other way around. Right? And that's true. That's true. They mock me with their every breath. Right? That they're sick, sadistic people. Can't stress that enough. Can't stress that enough. This whole thing, right? 400 plus videos, right? It didn't have to exist if he was actually cool. Right? And so Sony Pictures, right? Tom Rothman, Stacey Sher, right? aemanuel, Mike Simpson, right? That they insulate, right, and protect his evil and just believe his lies. Right? There's no way he can sincerely look them in the eye and they believe it. There's just no way. Right? So, right, my point is that I was working my job. In that first video that I sent him, told him that I was working my job after Tribeca. Right? Moving on. Right? And he has sought to destroy my mind with his clairvoyance. Like, that's what's actually been occurring. And so, yes, I know objective science, right? Like that's, right? And so this is what Deborah Katz was like having a hard time like swallowing, right? Because the things that I'm suggesting are outright evil. It's just pure evil. That's what it is. There's nothing else to consider there. And so that is, like, I'm sure that's, right? Right? So, right? It's time to talk about it. It's time to bring everyone into the conversation. Well, he gave me a shot. He gave me a shot in his way. And so, right? I humiliated him. Right? I suppose on some level because he humiliated me in such grand fashion. When all I ever did, and this is still true now, was write letters from the heart. All that rage that I put on them, right? It's not because of me, right? If he would have just moved on with his life, right? If he would have not paid me anything, if he would have just made the movie with Brad Pitt, right? But my point is that, like, he like made announcements in the press, right? That he turned it into this convoluted mind game, right? To see me submit. And so now that I haven't submitted, right? He has to go through this ridiculous, convoluted, like, oh, April Fool's joke. Well, I didn't think I wanted to make it, but now, like, I've decided, like, yeah, this is the movie I want to make. Right? Of course it's the movie he wants to make. It's a movie about a writer, right? And so Cliff Booth's not a writer. He's a fucking murderer. Right? That's the point. That's the real point. And so He didn't actually want another writer to play the role. He just thought he did. Because if he wanted a writer, right, I stared him directly in the eye and shoved that letter all the way up to his face until he stuck his nose up at me and turned his back on me. So, like, oh gosh, once in a lifetime, like I hated myself forever. I don't hate myself anymore. I chose the right side. It's obvious. It's obvious. He's not cool. He's never been cool. His movies are cool, right? But Michael Jackson was a great musician, wasn't he? Right? And sure, like, yeah, like Michael Jackson's maybe not a good comparison. But my point is that, right, the Thriller's a badass song, but perhaps he was fucking kids, and that's not cool. Reservoir Dogs is a great movie, but perhaps Quentin violated everyone's mind that's ever been in his films. And I know that must be true to have gotten the funding, right? Like Lawrence Bender, boom, under his thumb, 100%. Right? That he manipulated him in a palpable way. Right? Every single actor, right? Boom, in their minds. As much or as little as he wants. Right? These are the games that he plays. So, I gain nothing in the telling. What do I get? Right? So the parts that really frustrated me was, volunteering for the United Way. And, him making me believe that mass shooters are going to come shoot up the church that I'm at. It's really, really ugly. We're just the ugliest evil anyone can practice. And so, I have to talk about it. He wanted me to, right? He wants to portray me in a particular way. And so, now I have to, right? Like I can't, right? Like it's abhorrent to consider how awful he's been to me, right? While I was sorting trash to pay for the lawsuit that he wanted, that he still wants, right? I don't know. How unnecessary it all was. It all is. So it's about talking. It's about disclosure. It's about bringing everyone in, right? Because there's literally nothing good about him, right? His writing, nah, it's all bullshit now. It's all bullshit, right? That he can smile and, right, have his conversations with people, right, and act like there's nothing wrong in his life. Right, but he has a goblin in his mind too, and it's me. Right? By his design, not by mine. So, right, this is my point when I say it's pure evil. It's pure evil. Right, and in that way, I have a lot of apprehensions about beginning rehearsal for 12th Night in just a few weeks from now. That. Right? I suspect he is going to be outright evil to me. And I can't just take it lying down anymore. I can't do that. Right? I've done that a lot. Initially out of remorse and then out of fear. And so now I'm at acceptance. Right? That he is an evil degenerate. That's what he actually is. There's nothing else to consider there. Right? He's not a cool guy. Right? His wife, right? Sexy fucking bitch. Right? They both are into fucked up, depraved shit. So, I have to talk about it. There's no formula where we persist in this way for 20 years. It's honestly, it's funny at some point. At some point, it just becomes hilarious. Right? Oh, 5 years down the road when I have 12,000 videos saying the same thing, saying the exact same thing. Right? Oh, when I write every single voting member of the Academy, right? All I got to do is write one letter. Right? It would cost me, I don't know, maybe $200. Not $5. It cost me, it's 95 cents each envelope. But if I buy a book of stamps, probably less, maybe half of that. Right? And just let them all kind of like marinate on it and let them, all believe his lies, right? Right? When he could just make a statement, right? And own who he is, own what he is all the way. There's nothing wrong with being a clairvoyant. There's nothing wrong with remote viewing people. right? It's only evil if you make it evil. That's the point. So, I suppose I'll stop. Pray for me, pray for Quentin, right? His soul, it's gone. There's no light left in his soul. He's a hideous goblin, a hairy-footed bridge troll, right? And I'm a wreck psychologically too. Well, of course, I make no qualms about that. As far as the state that he's put me in, right? Can ask anyone that I was working with. I went back to work, and yeah, I was depressed for sure. But who cares? Right? We don't get what we want in life, right? God alone gets all. God alone sees all. And so this is what he's reckoning with now. Right? That this has all been about submission. This has all been about like him compelling me to submit. And so now, right, all that's left is murder. That's right, or savage black magic evil. Right? And so if I feel that on me, right, I have to put it back on him. Right? Because it's about protecting me. It's not about good or evil. Right? It's about protecting myself, because I don't have to be a movie star to be happy in the world. Right? And I'm almost glad that I didn't give him what he wanted. Right? That this was a test for him. Right? I know that he really understands nothing. He has a child's level of understanding about clairvoyance, and I've initiated him in a palpable way. So, in that way, right, we both failed our initiation. I don't need any teachings from Quentin Tarantino. You can direct me as a director. You could say, oh, maybe a little slower, or oh, what do you think about this? And that's all perfectly reasonable. I want to have those conversations. I wanted to have those conversations with him. Right? But to degrade it into some exercise in clairvoyance, no. No, you take my writing, you tell me what you want. Right? So the damage is done. He's made the movie. Right? And he'll release it. That's right. Next summer, they say, oh, April Fool's gotcha, right? Like, oh, what a setup. Right? Or he releases it as a David Fincher film, and that's equally hilarious. That he's just steeped in bullshit. Right? Playing fucked up mind games in his sex dungeon. Right? No, meh. David Fincher, no. No reconciliation, no acknowledgement. So, see what's good in your life. If life is an accident, then clairvoyance is also an accident. And I don't find any validity in that intellectually. All of life is expressing a noble divinity. It's a kinetic shadow of its abstract idealized form. Right? Platonic forms. All things reside as idea, the philosophy of Walter Russell, the continuous two-way universe. Space mutates into matter, matter dissipates back into space, from alpha to omega. Right? That something doesn't emerge out of nothing. Right? Something emerges out of everything. Everything is too perfectly, right? And this is Pribram and Bohm's holographic model. In terms of information, every cubic centimeter has within it the potential for all of manifested reality. And so it's through the concentration of the intellectual celestial zephyr upon specific regions within the firmament of space that engender a collapse out of the totality of the perfection of the quantum hologram of probability into a specific structural archetypal geometry, right, which engenders a kinetic corpuscular material shadow to emerge as a result of the structural integrity of its idealized form. All instances of clairvoyance hearken to the same idea, that it's through the conscious awareness of the divine intellectual origin of life that we see the material world manifested out of mutating the static perfection of the quantum hologram. And so it's the mind of the practitioner, it's the mind of the adept, right? Concentrating upon a person or a location, right? Pushing that thought force energy out, engendering a novel pressure condition upon that disparate locale, which fractures and transmutes the hologram to suit the scope of their desire and intent. And so this is how nuns heal the sick, right? And this is how Quentin Tarantino tortures me with a power no court can ever try him on. God bless. Let me know what you think.